Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op.
Hello, Couch Co-opers, Couch Potatoes, and Couch Codependents. This is the Couch Co-op Show. I'm Ian, and I got Jarrod, Dave, and Nick here on the couch with me tonight.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hi.
I forgot to ask Nick if he had a beer battle tonight.
I do.
Oh, well, then let's just kick it off with that right away.
Yeah.
So, in celebration of Cinco de Mayo, which no self-respecting Mexican would even really care about, except for
It's for us gringos?
actually, yes. Well, and Puebla, but anyway, I've got, and it's also kind of a freebie edition because I got these free from work. But I'm having Corona go up against Victoria.
Two cervezas.
Ooh. I
Cool.
recently had
Cool.
Victoria and liked it a lot.
No lime, though.
Yeah, no-
Where's the lime, Nick?
Well, I gotta taste these beers as
Oh,
they
I suppose you're right. All right.
Okay,
All right.
if they
All
if they
right.
can't hold their own without a lime,
All right.
you probably
Right.
shouldn't have it anyways.
I mean, it
And-
doesn't matter. But,
And just for fun, since I've got the 24-ounce can,
Oh yeah.
oh, you're doing two bottles?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Which one are you going to do first?
I think Nick's
Yes.
just celebrating not working tomorrow.
Yeah. I think he's celebrating Cinco de Mayo, isn't he? Isn't that
Yeah.
the tradition?
Cinco no work tomorrow.
Yeah.
They can't call me in now.
He's celebrating Cinco and Seis.
Well, they haven't called me in.
Well, he won't be
for-
celebrating. Perhaps tomorrow, but you know.
So I'm a big fan of Corona. I know Jared's not a huge fan of it.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I'm not gonna go out of my way to buy it.
I like it.
All those years ago, it was like the default strip club beer.
Yeah.
It's like before PBR got trendy.
I just
Oh
always
no,
liked
PBR's been trendy for way too long.
yeah, I think it kind of fell out of favor though recently. I mean, I feel like it's kind of
Yeah.
It seems like Rainier has kind of taken its place, just from what I've
Yes.
as it should
I've
have.
noticed that a few,
Yeah,
few
hey,
places.
It's a better
all right.
tasting beer.
I mean, the parent company is still winning, but 'cause-
Yeah.
Yes. Hashtag winning.
Yeah.
because I mean, Rainier is a Pabst brand.
Way to ruin it for us, Nick.
I
Yeah, I also have a Pilsner. I have Co-Pilot from Everybody's Brewing.
I have
Classic
Lincoln
ale.
Pilsner.
This is the
Wow, we're all
Elysian
on the
Fields Classic Ale.
We're in preparation for next weekend's 85-degree wet weekend. 85 degrees weekend. Get fucking
Yeah.
tired of this rain.
I just pressure washed the back patio today in preparation.
Nice.
In preparation, because Nick and I are gonna get fucked. Anyway,
Oh, Canby
Sweet.
Brewfest.
I got my
Yeah.
ticket this time.
Congratulations.
Yay!
You could just save yourself the money, not get the ticket, and then you'd have to crash at Nick's house and drink his beer stash.
That's what I did last year.
Ching.
I don't know, but I really liked Nick's tour that he gave us. The
What?
video.
What video?
All the video
Oh,
clips
last
and
year?
stuff
Oh,
like
wow.
that. Yeah,
Canby
last year.
Brewfest video.
Oh,
yeah.
right. So how was the Corona, Nick, to win? As you taste it for the 100th time, but for the first time really critically.
I love Corona.
All right.
It's a wonderful, and I never knew what the alcohol percentage of it was for the longest time, but I just know I could drink a fair amount of it and not have any serious effects. But yes, it's
Now, traditionally, do you like it with lime, or you prefer it alone, virgin?
I can do either or. I mean, I do like the lime, but I mean, I like the lime in pretty much all the
Yeah.
cervezas,
Cool.
or at least cervezas of Mexican origin.
Awesome. Super
Nice.
cool. Well, we'll let you enjoy that. and get down to drinking it, and we'll move on with the show. Jarrod, or Dave, but I imagine Jarrod probably has taken care of his homework. What happened this day? What happened on Cinco de Mayo in video game history?
Well, specifically on this day, Wolfenstein 3D came out in 1992,
Holy
which is
shit.
32 years ago.
That's cool.
Yeah, I saw that. That was
Yeah, and that's awesome. And it's funny because also on May the 5th, Wolfenstein: The Old Blood came out until 2015.
Oh,
yeah, I saw that also.
that's
It's
cool.
funny. I remember it's like Wolfenstein just appeared from somewhere. I remember someone had a disc at school or whatever, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, check this out. It's like 3D, and you kill Nazis, and like it's so cool. And just remember playing it for
That
ages.
was back in the day when you had to buy a sound card. So all my sounds were bleep, bleep,
yes.
bleep, bleep
And
until
if
I
you were
spent
playing it
the
on the
money to
school
get one.
computer, it was like postage stamped because they had like
Yeah.
a 286 that would barely run it.
Mhm.
But
I came to that game
That's
later
funny.
because I had already played Doom, so trying it, I was
Oh,
never
okay.
really impressed. I didn't try it right when it came out, so
yeah,
the only time I ever played it was like on a shareware disc. I was like, okay, meh.
it was it is quite a step back if you go the other way, but
Yeah, definitely going
it was a large
backwards.
step forward going forwards.
Uh-huh.
For sure.
That was a
Also,
Oh wait,
what?
Nick.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that was a pretty wild game.
Oh yeah, I mean, fighting Hitler in a mech suit. I
Uh-huh.
mean, that's pretty fucking
Yeah.
rad. In
Mhm.
both of those games, actually, The Old Blood and Wolfenstein 3D.
And then
Pretty cool.
And then like years later, I'd see like a screensaver of just like a brick wall. I mean, I don't know if it was inspired by the game, but it's certain. I mean, have you guys just like seen that on like some random ass computers like back in the day? It would basically just be like you're walking through a brick wall, but it almost looked exactly like you were playing Wolfenstein.
Yes, I
Yeah,
think I remember
yeah.
those like 3D dungeon crawler screensavers. Like,
I think even one of the more
going
modern
down the corridor.
Wolfensteins did that.
Yeah,
Like, in the dream state, right?
there is
when he wasn't
that,
dreaming?
but there also is in the like one of the latest. I think it might be in Youngblood. I think there's an actual arcade machine where you can actually play the game. I think that's the last time I actually played Wolfenstein 3D. Was inside, the game, the meta
right.
of the meta.
That's
But yeah,
awesome.
I think you're right. In one of the dream sequences, it did kind of do something like that.
Yeah, pretty sure. Or like you find a secret and it was the retro model, and it was pretty neat. But also in the last week, this whole week, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind came out in 2002.
Wow.
So that was a biggie. I mean, that series is still one of the highest regarded series that's never going to get a sequel.
Well, what kind of
At least
sequel?
in
What are you
this,
talking about?
at least in this current decade. No,
Morrowind.
it's supposed to come out in 26 or something like that is the current estimate.
Oh, for the
Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah.
So in
What the
oh, go on.
no, what the last one was Elder Scrolls Online, and when that came out on what PS4, like early PS4.
But that's not a sequel. That's like an.
No, it's not.
I mean, Skyrim
But
was
2011 is
yeah.
when the last one came out.
Well, they
So it's
gotta-
been a bit.
They gotta make all the other games.
Yeah, they have a lot. Red Dead Revolver came
Oh,
out
God.
in 04. That spawned Ian's favorite series.
Famously, it
Red
was
Dead
not a
Redemption.
Rockstar game until they bought
Yeah.
it and
That's right.
Yeah, I
resuscitated
played that
it.
recently in the in the pandemic or whatever. You guys challenged me to it. It's fun.
Oh,
but
okay.
It's got
Yeah.
that like PlayStation 2 difficulty part
Oh,
issues,
yeah. We're super lame.
sometimes. So
Let's see. On the 6th, Castlevania Aria of Sorrow came out on Game Boy Advance, and the two Castlevanias that came out around that era on Game Boy Advance were some of the best ones. Very, very awesome. That came out in 03. It's hard to believe that the Game Boy Advance was still huge in 2003. It just seems like it was earlier than that. I always thought that the Game Boy came out earlier than the 90s or something like that. It's just funny how that tech works. EVE Online came out that day, also in 2003. I didn't know the game was that old. It's 21 years old now.
Wow.
That's
I remember playing
crazy.
that, yeah, college.
Yeah, I had no idea. It's free to play, isn't it?
It might be now. Yeah.
I think it's free to play.
They got
I
another.
thought of jumping in and just checking it out.
EVE Online's the spreadsheet space game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have another first-person shooter tie-in game coming out. I was asked to join the beta like a few weeks ago.
Yeah, because they had that
that's
one
cool.
where you were fighting on the planet.
Yeah, they had the
wasn't it?
PS3 version back in the day that was free, and you would fire, and then people could help you in space somehow. I'm not quite sure how that worked, but then that kind of petered out. But they're trying to do it again, so there's another free-to-play shooter coming that they're working on. So
That's cool. Because they have a free-to-play EVE game for mobile.
oh, do they?
It's EVE Echoes. I think it's like a shooter or something. I don't know much about it. But the final one I wanted to mention came out on the 8th of May. Came out in 2012. And it's the sequel to one of the Couch's most fun multiplayer games. This is Starhawk.
Oh yeah, Starhawk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Remember that.
one that came after Warhawk, which we played a lot of couch co-op. And I forgot about Starhawk, but this game had similar things to like Helldivers. You'd call stuff down from the space stations and it'd drop for you and help you out. And I mean that's pretty neat game. We played a lot of that too.
It's kind of a westernish mech game. Had really cool soundtrack. You could play it solo, but it's pretty fun.
Yep.
Not as awesome as Warhawk. I'm always surprised that Warhawk didn't get a sequel in PS4 or PS5. Like why?
Yeah, it feels like
that
it's
series
ripe
just kind
to-
of died.
It's ripe for the Helldivers 2 treatment.
Right?
So I saw a video of Warhawk today on YouTube, and people have like private servers and stuff like that. I'm guessing it's like a PC ROM hack or something.
No, it's on my PS3, and you can have if you have enough people to like create a private server, you can play. I mean, I jumped in on a current server. It's just me by myself though, just running around in this world. So you can fly around and shoot things. It's still up and running. It's just very lonely unless you know people that can all come in and join a server with you.
That's cool. If I had a PS3, I would totally play with you.
I have one.
So I had two more to add to this day.
Yeah, go for it.
One was really boring, which was that Microsoft Windows 98 SE was released 25 years ago.
That was my favorite. Yeah,
The best version of Solitaire.
When you said about
Spider Solitaire,
Adrian Carmack, one of the founders of ID Software, was born 55 years ago. But the one that struck me was Peter Molyneux. It's his birthday, and he was born 65 years ago, and he's the guy that did
Populous.
Populous, Powermonger, Syndicate, Theme Park, Fable.
Epic Monkey, right?
Fables.
Yeah, he did a lot of.
Isn't Epic Mickey his?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm looking at the list. I don't see it.
Oh.
But so he did a lot of games that, Black and White, Dungeon Keeper.
He's very well known for way over talking his games, and then making it happens, and they have to make tons of cuts. And
he was very productive up until about 2010, and then he's done a couple of games. But it's like, I think it's one of those things where you just you work your way up to management, and you get further and further away. And plus nowadays it takes a lot more people to make a game than it did when he started.
Yeah.
So.
I have a respect for his history. I love a lot of those games that he worked on.
Yeah, I love Syndicate. Theme Park's a great game. Populous. I actually played Populous recently, and it's still pretty good. It's kind of random.
I played a lot of that on Super Nintendo. You can only imagine how good it ran on that. Yeah, it's funny.
I was curious.
But that's all I got for this week in gaming. What Nick, about Populous?
Oh, I said that was just a game I was always curious about, but I
dink around with it. Your PC will play it.
It's really fun. You're basically this garden. Yeah. You make the land go up and down, and like basically you can create earthquakes and
it's a god game.
All sorts of stuff to.
No, kind of.
It starts really easy and it just goes on forever.
Mm-hmm. Fun.
Okay.
Cool.
Maybe I'll get it as a ROM on this.
You can play it. You can probably play it. As a ROM, or like the Video Game History Foundation. Probably.
I don't know. Somebody was plugging some
Delta.
app on iOS. I can't remember
Delta.
who it was, but
Delta.
yeah, but yeah.
The airline.
Amtrak of the skies.
And that is this day in gaming history. Dave, have you played a demo to share with us?
I have, and I have a demo that I think you would love, Ian, and I think Jarrod and Nick would probably enjoy it too.
Okay.
I played the demo. I played the demo of Stellar Blade.
Oh yeah, me too.
We played that. I played it too.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. It was I didn't play it all the way through, and I was quite enjoying it, and it definitely gave me the near kind of feels. And I've not played Bayonetta, but I imagine it's similar in some respects to that game, but
more near than Bayonetta, I'd say.
Yeah,
but you should totally play through that whole demo. That final boss fight's awesome.
Yeah. I need to go back to it. I was one of those demos where I didn't get time to play through the whole thing, and I was gonna continue on, but I was really enjoying it. I'm glad you both played it. Do you think you'll get the game, or is it like?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Someday.
I'm gonna get it.
Just got too many games right now.
Yeah, it's just like a lot.
Don't need to spend $70 on a game I can't play.
Yeah,
and I'm not really playing anything at the moment except fucking around with this Delta app. So I've been playing a lot of Game Boy Advanced and Super Nintendo games, you know.
So go play Castlevania Aria of Sorrow.
I got enough games. I've downloaded enough ROMs already, so I'm fit for now. There's actually some games I want to try and beat, actually, which is fun. It's kind of cool, but Stellar Blade is definitely a game I want to play. It's definitely like that Nier and
I really appreciate that the demo gave you a good flavor of it, and
dude, there's guys.
I like the graphic style. I like the artwork. I kind of feel it's a little unfair they got so much heat for the sexiness of the characters. I'm like, this is no different to Bayonetta and Nier, really.
Nah, I think it's a minority. It sold pretty well. I think it's fine. It's whatever. It is what it is.
But yeah, I really quite enjoyed it. I like the opening scene, like kind of dragged me in a bit, and that's like I want to know.
The cinematic
more.
was awesome.
Yeah, it was just nice to play a big budget game that seemed like it had something something interesting going on.
Yeah.
So
this is like a film studio's first game. It's like they decided to do games, kind of like.
I thought he was
they were a mobile studio.
Were they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they had a mobile
student.
butt game, like you kind of like shoot at things. It's not really a first-person shooter, but you have like this. It's like a third-person shooter, but the character doesn't really move; it just kind of aims at things on mobile, and then you just have this really sexy butt that jiggles as you shoot.
Funny.
And so they went from this mobile game, and then they just made this giant.
Okay. I guess maybe I was just thinking of like Ember Labs. That's a company that did that.
Yeah, that was. Isn't that the?
I can't think of the name of the game.
Because
I bought it. I'm the only one that played it. I loved it.
The girl, right? The little girl.
Yeah.
Game?
With the little the rot.
Yeah.
The little black character dude things.
No, Shift Up was the one. They're like a South Korean mobile game company.
Okay.
That's so funny though that you guys have all played the demo, and I'm like,
yeah, no, that game has been on my radar for a while, and then
it was on my radar, and then I was looking for demos this week, and I'm like, oh, there's a demo of that. I've seen some stuff. It looks interesting. I'll give it a whirl.
There were people that were playing it because it has like a boss mode at the end where you can just keep fighting the boss over and over again, and like one dude sank like 50 hours in the demo.
You're like, dude, just get the game.
It's funny. But yeah, no, it's super cool. So I'm definitely gonna play it. Probably maybe I'll wait for it to come down in price a little bit, but
yeah, I feel like that's probably what I'll end up doing. Is if I see it for $30-$40, I might buy it.
And you could beat Bayonetta 3 first.
See, there's that too.
There is that. Yeah.
I have lots of things. If I ever play my console,
he's got another 5 years before he beats that game. When did that come out?
Right.
Yeah, he might have to pull the switch out of his toilet.
Yeah, it's right over here. Anyway, cool. All right, Dr.Demo. That's a buy, try, or die. So it's probably like a buy, try for Dave.
Buy, yeah.
All right, cool. All right. Well, kind of talking about Stellar Blade. it's a PlayStation exclusive, and I thought tonight we'd have another discussion about a topic on exclusivity. Whether it's a good thing, whether it's a bad thing. I don't know. I don't know where really. What are your general thoughts on the exclusivity of video games?
I think exclusivity, originally started just because you're the company making the hardware, and you need to get a start to have some games released on release day of your new hardware. And so, you built your games to your hardware, and now it's not so much of an issue now that PC and Xbox and PlayStation are all kind of using similar tools to develop the games. So I understand where exclusives come from and why they existed in the past.
First.
Yeah. I can't say I'm a big fan of, it's okay. Like, I don't mind Sony owning studios and Microsoft owning studios, but I can't say I'm a big fan of this, like buying up studios and taking games that were previously available on all platforms and making them exclusives. I'm like, you've got the studios, why not just, Sony's done a very good job of creating its own franchises and things that we actually want to play, like God of War and, Horizon. And they've actually done a good job of creating new franchises as well, like not just relying on Mario like Nintendo does. Nintendo relies on its legacy franchises and exclusives, and updating those. Whereas Sony, I feel like they do give some love to the old games, but they're also not afraid to try new things as exclusives. And I do really appreciate that. And, to some degree as well, Microsoft, but they seem to be failing the exclusive game.
Well, it's a funny thing too, because like Bayonetta, that first Bayonetta game was multi-platform. Then Nintendo bought that property from Sega, and the sequel, and only on the Wii U.
Yeah, Wii U. Yeah.
So
yeah,
it was a really big. It was a big hit, but I imagine it didn't sell well. That they had to then re-release it on the Switch, and then Bayonetta 3 just pretty much sank. And Bayonetta's not. It's cool that it's on Switch, but Bayonetta should be like a multi-platform game. It shouldn't be. It would have sold way better.
Yeah, the whole point of Sega going into software only was so that they could sell their games on all the platforms. Because again, they had their own hardware.
So Sonic could fight Mario and something.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Wii U needed Bayonetta to help sell consoles, but
yeah,
Bayonetta, the Switch did not need Bayonetta to sell consoles. That's so I don't know. I feel bad for Bayonetta. It kind of, as an exclusive game, it gets lost.
Yeah. Most people that played it just kind of wished it was on more powerful hardware. And there were certain scenes where I'm watching it or playing through a scene, I'm just like, man, this could have been so cool.
A little stuttery sometimes. I don't know. It's just, you want it to look like Stellar Blade. You want it to look like sick, not like an old PS3 game.
Yeah, but even though I'm just curious if that studio would have really ramped it up.
Platinum?
Yeah.
I mean, Nier's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I
I mean, if Bayonetta got a graphics upgrade to something like that, it might lose some of its character. So who knows?
So?
It's art direction.
I don't know. I mean, Devil May Cry is a pretty good game. I mean, it's basically Devil May Cry, but so one of the reasons I brought this up, I wanted to talk about this was so there's a new Batman game coming out. It's VR only, and it's only on MetaQuest. And I feel like having the continual having VR games exclusive to that platform is a failure of VR, because I feel like VR is pretty much dead. You need good games to be on all of the headsets, because all the headsets need to rise up. You know what I mean? It should be.
Yeah, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Right? And I feel like the VR thing, like, whereas last time, like, Dave, Jarrod, we all had PSVR, Jarrod's the only one that has VR too. You know, it's just.
And when did you last swear the bucket?
Oh, I haven't.
It's been a bit.
See,
it's been a
Jarrod,
few, several weeks. Yeah,
and Jarrod's not going to get the Batman game, so it's like
no, I can't.
Yeah.
I still wish Sony would, try and get Half-Life Alyx and stuff like that.
I'm sure
there's
they've
huge
tried.
games that just need to, like, with a niche product like VR. Like having exclusives on one platform versus the other is just hurting that whole market.
Right.
Big time.
If you want this to succeed, you have to believe in the other headsets too. I get why PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox all play their exclusives. They want to fight for market share, and that's that console war thing. I don't think the VR headsets can afford to do a console VR war.
No, they're
That's
still
what
at
they're
the
doing.
stage of trying to persuade people to buy VR headsets. They're not like the consoles. People are buying a console, and it's a choice. Which one am I going to get? VR is still at the point of, do I really need a VR headset?
It's a luxury. I mean, video games are a luxury as well, but
but that's
VR,
that's not what I'm
especially.
saying though. It's like if you're gonna, there's a big enough market of people that are gonna buy the next console. There's no big market of people who are out there like, I'm gonna buy the next VR headset. You're still at the point where you're trying to persuade people that they even need a VR or want a VR headset. Whereas, you've convinced people they want a console. It's just a question of Nintendo, Xbox, or PlayStation, really.
And video games are the best way to get that tech out into the world. Because if you look at Apple with their bazillion $4,000 headset that everyone's saying is cool, but it's boring and there's nothing to do on it, it's like, well, you need all these experiences, to help sell
they just
this
need
technology.
Pokemon Go on it, don't they?
There you go. I mean, they need something, but they can't hoard the ideas to one and the other. It's dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, Fortnite needs to go to VR. Probably that's probably what Epic needs to take that to the headsets and on all the headsets for free, and then that'll probably change the game. Like that's right there. That's probably what needs to happen. But yeah. So that was. Oh, go ahead, Nick.
Play with all your VR buddies, regardless of which headset you're wearing.
Well, just imagine that you could play whatever is it called, Fortnite Arena or whatever.
Fortnite League.
You can play that, but and then you can have your guitar, and then you can be in the group with your friends, rocking out on stage. Like it's coming, And that's what Facebook wanted. And they're not even able to do it. Meta's not even able to do it. I think you'll see that Epic's going to win that whole battle, but that would be cool, right? I don't know. It could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
exclusive to Meta.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Shoot,
I
or
just
maybe
think the exclusives are just like the Xbox exclusives. What does the Xbox have right now? I mean, they've got Starfield, obviously.
Halo.
The trouble with the Xbox is it's not a very wide, it's not a very wide number of titles. If you like those games, great. It's not that the bad games or anything, but there isn't something for everyone in the exclusive bag like there is on the PlayStation.
I think the problem
I bought an Xbox.
Well, I think the problem with Microsoft's focus is they're trying to chase that exclusive concept that Nintendo and Sony are doing really well, and Microsoft should really just stick to what they're doing.
Well, they may have had one that kind of landed in their lap with a recent TV show, but even though they don't have one they don't have it in development, but I mean they could.
Well, there's speed tracking Fallout into development.
Yeah.
But what is that
Maybe
called?
in time for season.
Sorry, Elder Scrolls has to wait and whatever else.
They say they're developing them side by side now, supposedly.
Oh.
But we'll see.
And I thought they had something else that they were or maybe that was Obsidian, which Microsoft also owns too.
But none of their stuff hits hard like the Mario and Sony stuff, So why even bother with that?
Well, I mean, hopefully they don't do that whole Doom, the new Doom or the new Wolfenstein can only be played on Xbox and PC.
I'm sure it will be.
That kind of garbage sucks. They
That's
bought
totally
that
happening.
big old company, and they're going to start rubbing those games in people's faces when they come out. I mean, that's unfortunately one of the main reasons I bought my Xbox is for a few games here and there. It's not turned on very often, but I have it so I can play those games.
The Indiana Jones game, that'll only be PC and Xbox.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I feel like you should be able to like play the games on whatever platform you prefer. I don't know, but I mean,
it does make a mockery of exclusives when most of them are available on the PC.
I mean, it really does seem like the PC is the best outlet for the most part because a lot of the Sony stuff is going to PC, and all the Xbox stuff launches on PC.
You get fucked by the Helldivers thing, so.
I mean, that's not
I mean,
really...
if you can afford a halfway decent PC, there's no reason to get an Xbox,
right? Oh,
and then
Nick's
Victoria
going for the dog.
Nick's moving on to the next one. So how was the Corona? Loved it.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to interrupt because
he was.
He'd give it 4 thumbs up.
He's on the sequel. That's
it's
not an exclusive; it's a sequel.
No, I mean, I've got much love for Corona. I always feel like I'm always tasting something just like and I don't know if this is just a psychological or from drinking it with limes, but I almost feel like there's almost something a little citrusy in there already. But I mean, I just love Corona. It's nice, it's light, it's easy,
well, isn't there something like that in there? That's what the lime activates that hop flavor.
Oh, maybe.
Kind of like it does in like a Widmer, like a Hef. Isn't there some kind of citra?
Like with a wheat beer when you throw like a lemon or an orange in it?
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no idea. It's always been served with the lime as far as I've had it, and I just thought that was kind of part of the game when you drink a Corona or Mexican beer.
I've seen people put lemon in it too.
Yeah, and then they get arrested because it's just sacrilege. I mean, lemon will be fine in a Widmer Hef, sure. Orange in a Blue Moon or something, but I mean, that's something you just kind of have to stay in your citrus lane with.
All right.
I guess. I don't know.
Well, try sip this Victoria. Tell me what it's about. It's darker.
I mean, I'm not super familiar with Victoria. I've probably only had it a couple of times. It's like, I don't think it only started showing up in the U.S. like maybe within the past few years. Like
I've never had.
I don't know. It's owned by the same company. I believe it's a group of Modelo that still owns Victoria, which also owns Modelo and Pacifico and Corona. So this is like an intercompany battle right here.
There you go.
But
cool. We'll let you enjoy that, and we'll get back to our discussion.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
You fucking ruined it. Derail this. I don't know where I want to even talk about this.
No, I mean, it always seems like exclusives have always been around, like even back when we were probably even kids.
Yeah. Do you think exclusives will go away slowly over time but the budgets for games have gotten bigger and bigger, and so they've got to kind of recoup some of that money? Because it seems like that's the way Xbox is going in bringing some of the previous exclusives to other systems. Is the budget has gotten bigger and it's an easy way to get sales, and even PlayStation itself, and that's probably some of the reason that you see in some of the PlayStation games come out on the PC and Steam is not out of the goodness of the heart, but it's just costing so much to make and build these games that the additional cost to convert it to the PC is negligible compared to the additional revenue you can generate.
Well, I think I mean, looking at the numbers for Helldivers, I mean, they were kind of funny. They were talking about how Helldivers is the number 7th highest grossing PlayStation game ever. Without the, but if they had not, but if it was not had not been sold on PC, it'd be below 20. So
it really
most of it really makes a difference. It can really make a difference, but that game's special because it hit a special moment. You know, it's not like the God of War numbers or the Ghost of Tsushima numbers on PC or anywhere near the console numbers. You know, it's like
that
kind of one of those
interesting. The ideal PC game, really,
right.
Isn't it?
It's like the same reason that, you know, when Sony bought Destiny, it's not like they forced them to go, you know, exclusive. They, you know, it's still a multi-console game, you know, and that would be dumb for them to do that, you know. Like, let's
But
stop.
hey, at least they're not requiring PC players to log into PSN on Destiny 2.
Yeah,
somebody's mad about that.
I think it's an annoyance, but like, I mean, that was always in the Steam thing. That's always been there, and only because of the rollout and the server situation,
really,
they weren't able to.
Yeah, they weren't able it from the beginning. If it was
well, it's because of the server issues. It wasn't working, so they couldn't get it to work, and then so they put it on the back. But the reason they're doing that, because if you do sign in to your PlayStation account in Destiny, it allows for the cross saving. So that's why they want to do it. So like you as a PlayStation person can go to a PC. Save your file across, and then you still have all your stuff and all your unlocks there. So that was the whole idea.
DLC.
Well, whatever, but well, there's not really DLC.
Add-ons and stuff.
They sold it really.
Destiny.
They sold it really badly. The Helldivers thing.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was supposed to attach to PSN until recently.
You know, I mean, it was it's always been on Steam. So like, people don't read. That's, you know, it's there. So I don't really care.
Yeah, I wouldn't read it if I downloaded a game from Steam and it worked on my PC. I'd be like, and then they asked me to suddenly start using my EA account or whatever. It'd be like,
everything does that though. Like EA on Game Pass. You know, you want to play an EA game on Game Pass, and then it makes you fucking log into EA. It's like it's the same shit. It's like whatever. It's just how it is. I don't really care.
It is how it is, but that doesn't mean that it's not shitty.
I guess they just want to track and they want to.
Yeah, I'm curious how that helps. So like, I mean, it's you know, PlayStation exclusive on PC. So like, if people log into these platforms through the PC, I mean, it helps boost the PlayStation user count.
Right.
As far as I know, would be the only benefit is the numbers of PlayStation active users.
Well, that's what they want. It allows you to get trophies and your saves and all that kind of shit. I don't know. I mean, I don't fault them for doing it. Everyone does it. It was broken. I get people being upset because it didn't actually happen at launch, but it's like, they should have dealt with it better. Like, oh hey, cross saves are coming, but the only way you can do cross saves is if you log into your PlayStation account. So create a PlayStation account and you can have cross saves. Like, that's what Kind of Funny said.
The carrots instead of the stick.
I agree. Instead of just like
method.
You know, don't beat on Aaron. Wait for him to do something wrong, then beat on him.
As long as they don't start the whole, you're using the PlayStation Network, you need to pay a subscription fee to play online. Well, could you imagine what PC gamers would do with that?
I think that's the thing. It's like instead of saying, if you want, you know, you'll get cross saves, here's what you get if you log in, they're like, okay, we're not going to let you play the game you've bought unless you use this account, and that's where it gets a bit shitty.
Yeah,
and it's not the player's fault that it was broken on launch.
No, it's not. That's like I don't. But you know what?
That was a big sidestep to.
But that's
content
the problem
topic.
With a lot of these things is they can change the terms and conditions after you think you've signed the contract. Essentially, that's the problem with a lot of online culture and online services is you sign up with one set of terms and conditions and they're constantly changing. I mean, we've all had we're updating the terms and conditions here. You know, you've bought something and you lose access to it if you don't agree to the new terms and conditions. It's kind of a shitty way to do business, really. You know, you buy something, you agree to the that's when the transaction happens, is when you agree to the terms and conditions. It's not like you don't buy your house and then change the contract 20 times. So I think that's why people get annoyed about that kind of stuff. So,
I mean,
rant over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good.
I mean, yeah, there's so much of that kind of.
Yep.
Well, so it's kind of tied to exclusivity here, but like there's many, like over almost 200 countries that couldn't actually have bought the game because PlayStation Network is not available in 170 countries.
Yep.
So that exclusivity through PlayStation Network on Steam just kind of screwed thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. And that's crazy to think about that. I mean, that's exclusives in a different kind of right.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
You can legally buy it in this country. You just can't legally play it.
Yeah.
I imagine
so
they're gonna
wild.
walk this back. I mean,
Yeah.
It's
gotta.
Yeah, it's such.
It's a really bad like thing for Sony, because all of the goodwill that was generated because of this game, and now they're kind of
positive.
Yeah, it's they're pretty much
You know what it
punishing the
reminds me
developer,
of?
and it's not the developer's fault because it's a Sony thing that they want,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, technically Helldivers is an exclusive. It's an exclusive Sony PlayStation game. That's why they wanted this thing. So it all actually does deal with exclusivity, really. And the fact that they want you to sign into PlayStation is just more the fact that they want you to be, because Sony wants to have a PC, some kind of PC existence, like Game Pass has its existence.
They want the Sony PCs though.
Right, but
that's really what they like.
Kind of. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure once they have enough PC games available, they'll have their own store to buy them through.
Sure. But
yeah,
that's kind of, it is all kind of tied together, really. I mean, and that's just the nature. Sony's really clumsy about it,
Yeah, it reminds me of, remember
they fell down the stairs
when they said you won't be able to loan your games to other Xbox gamers,
right?
And that really that stuck around for a long time.
They were a few years ahead of their time.
Yeah,
because it's basically where. I mean,
that's kind of where we're at now.
But yes, you remember that one, and it was like that put the nail in the coffin that made people decide.
But didn't they also have an idea in that original plan where you could borrow a game from your friends?
Yes,
like digitally.
Like I wish that was around.
You couldn't play, but they could play it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but yeah, that just reminds me of that. That's all.
I mean, it's all gonna come to a head, and then at one point, I mean, because like, I don't see. I think earlier, Dave, you were saying, do you ever see a time where these all exclusives go away? But I like maybe with Xbox and I think Xbox is waiting for PlayStation to break more, like to give up more, because I know Xbox is really pushing for it, because I think they would do it. They just don't want to be the only ones to do it. But you're never gonna get Nintendo to do it unless Nintendo fails and someone buys them out, and I just don't think Nintendo will ever. You'll never see Mario on fucking Xbox or PlayStation.
No, but you should be able to see
not legally anyway
in a different console. Yeah,
but I mean they make Super Mario Odyssey or whatever, and it's just essentially Super Mario 12 by now. If you got rid of.
Oh, don't say that. I mean,
it's even
that's a low number, Dave. That's a low number.
I was gonna say it's like how many times can you sell the same? Because there's not many other exclusive franchises that on the other systems that have had as many iterations as some of these games.
It's true.
No doubt.
So.
Well, yeah. I mean, I should look up how many Mario games there are.
Mario games, Zelda games, fucking even Metroid games. There's so many of that shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, the most of Mario.
You've had quite a few like relatively new properties on the PlayStation since in the last 10 years.
Oh, for sure.
Which is pretty impressive. So, I mean, Ghost of Tsushima is one that sticks out to me. That's like something that's totally different and I really enjoyed. I think that's the other thing. The quality of them has been pretty high.
Right.
There's not been too many stinkers, which is quite surprising because
even the stinkers are hits because,
Yeah.
critically, Days Gone wasn't a big hit, but you guys all seem to like it.
Yeah, I really like that game. Yeah.
So I mean, I know it has a huge cult following.
I think there's also some exclusives are exclusive just because the studio develops it for one system, and then it's successful, and then they cross-port it to other systems. Again, they only have so many resources and so many people, and sometimes it's better to focus that on one target system to begin with, and then if the game is successful, port it across to other systems.
I'm almost okay with exclusives if they're just exclusive to the console. Like that's
Yeah.
if it's their studio, not the shady thing like with Bethesda where Starfield was going to come out to PlayStation and then because they bought them now you're going to I mean that game is probably pretty close to being done and then you just shelve
where
it.
you're buying a studio just to
fuck the other,
screw with the other guys. Yeah.
But if it's like really your studio and they develop a game just for you, I'm okay with that. The shit I'm not really a big fan of, but I get it sometimes, is that whole timed exclusive. Like maybe, I mean, I think Nier Automata was like that. I think the first year, because Sony helped at the end distribute it or did marketing or something for that game, that was on PlayStation 4 for like 6 months or a year before it hit Xbox. I mean, I don't really like
much
that.
Of that recently. I don't remember that I can think of, but
yeah, recently it hasn't been so much of that. But it back in the PS4 era, it was like all the time. No Man's Sky did it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that. I'm glad it's not as prevalent.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I'm not sorry to see that go away.
Or you get the thing where it's like a studio makes one for Xbox and then one for Sony. Why not just focus on making one game that's good for both? Because it wasn't.
Yes.
What was? So the current that Rise of the Ronin is the PlayStation exclusive, but then, they made a game for Xbox that wasn't it exclusive. I don't know.
I don't recall.
Anyway, both games did marginally fine. They probably could have spent all that time making one good game. I guess that's what I don't know.
Anyway, Grand Theft Auto 6 will come out. One game to rule them all.
Yeah.
Or it'll just fucking suck.
I mean, the luck's got to run out sometime, hasn't it?
I doubt it. There's too many depraved people in the world that just want to...
There we go.
Yep.
I don't know. I think it's a stupid thing. Exclusivity. That's it.
Yeah, I'd rather just have a console.
Right?
But it's never...
Yeah.
Yeah. Never going to happen. I mean, I could just buy one console, but I like franchises on multiple consoles.
I understand it. Back in the... Probably PlayStation 3 was the last one where programming PlayStation 3 was completely different to programming the Xbox. They use different architectures and different processors, whereas now they're all, the tools are all unified. It's all Unreal, and they just get Unreal running on whatever system it is, and there's your game. You might have to tweak the resolutions a little, just because certain consoles do things better than others, but.
Yeah, now it's like how to activate the trophies or achievements on each one might be different programs.
Well, most Unreal games are
Sony...
multi-platform.
Yeah.
Because if you look
that's what I mean. Everything's kind of moved to...
Well, but if you look at Horizon or Death Stranding, they're using the Decima engine, which is this proprietary studio engine. So I mean, there is some of that.
There is some of that still going on, yeah.
But
then they can run it on a PC, so it's like it can't be that hard to translate it to an Xbox.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, the other thing about Microsoft is they're so close to just being a PC only thing. Like, they really are only making consoles to compete with Sony. Like, they don't really, especially with their numbers not being that high this generation.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't just got out of it, just done the Sega and been like, yep. We're done. We're just going to make games. We own all these great franchise, studios that make these great franchises that everyone wants to play. Let's just make games.
I think it's the point where they convince Sony to just allow them to have Game Pass on a PlayStation.
Yeah.
Whether that happens or not, I don't know, but that's kind of like that's
awesome.
That's what Xbox wants.
Even just streaming would be perfect.
Microsoft is a software company. They always have been. They probably always will be. They've tried to do Microsoft Phone. They've tried to do other Microsoft branded hardware. Yeah. Oh yeah, the Zune. They're a follower, not a leader. The Zune was a response to the iPod, and the Windows Phone was a response to to phones, and
Xbox was a response to Nintendo and PlayStation.
Yeah, and the Dreamcast, and all the rest of it. So.
Yeah, I think that's what they would love to have. They would love to have their Game Pass where the people would be allowed to go into on a PlayStation and spend their money instead of on the PlayStation Store on the Microsoft Store. But that's the problem, because then Sony's going to want some money if you're putting your shit on our console. So I'm sure those conversations are bizarre and crazy. Like, how does that even happen?
And to be quite honest, it's chicken and egg. It's not going to happen until Microsoft exits the hardware business, and
probably
Microsoft doesn't want to exit the hardware business, because that's kind of they can use that as a card against Sony.
The other shitty
hardware business, if you let us do our
kind of like with Bayonetta. The other shitty thing about exclusives is, like, if that exclusive ultimately doesn't get released, it's that consoles or whoever's, that's theirs, and no one else will ever see it, can buy it or have it. The thing that comes to mind is Scalebound, because I'm a huge Platinum Games fan, and Microsoft for Xbox One was developing this dragon game called Scalebound, and getting close to however it was, they canceled it. And like, Platinum really wanted to keep making that game, but Xbox didn't want to let it go. So it's like,
and they have the rights to it.
And they have the rights to it, and that kind of sucks. I don't know. So that's also, things that happen, I guess. It's their money.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really have anything else to add.
Yeah. I feel like if you've got a PC and the console, you're kind of most of the way there. Like, if you like the PlayStation exclusives, if you've got a PlayStation and then you have a PC, that'll get you the Game Pass stuff and the Xbox stuff, and you're pretty much sorted. You can play most of what you want, unless you like Nintendo games, and then you have Nintendo and a PC, and that gets you most of what you'd want to play.
I mean,
well, yeah, I have like a kind of okay PC, and I was able to run Starfield just fine. Yeah, just an okay PC will get you pretty far.
I'm not saying do it, kids, but like, when Breath of the Wild came out, and some people that didn't have Switches had PCs, they were getting 60 frame Breath of the Wild versus your 30 to 25 frames per second on the Switch.
In 4K.
In 4K. So I'm not saying, but I'm saying, if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. You're saying it's a lot easier to emulate Nintendo hardware because it's like 10 years out of date.
Yeah, right.
It's an old cell phone.
I think that's accurate.
Yeah.
Why do you think they're coming after them all so frequently? Like, wasn't there just another emulator they just took down? It's like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Gary's mod. They're attacking Gary's mod now.
Yeah. That's what
all the Nintendo mods that people have made.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Forever years of Gary's mods, they're having to wipe that site of all Nintendo stuff. It's wild.
I mean, Nintendo's always been really protective of their exclusive shit. So.
Yeah. They're not. It's not new. They're known for that.
No.
Even if you just make a parody game of, they'll come after you, cease and desist. Like, you can't. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't fuck with Nintendo.
Well, some of the first big games on PlayStation's Dreams were like Mario games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what people immediately go to when they think of a game. Like, oh, I know Mario really good. Let's build Mario.
There's like all those like Half-Life and Doom levels, or yeah, it's funny, It's like poking the poking the tiger. Is that what it is?
I remember back in the day, like Doom, you could get a level for pretty much every TV show that was out in the 90s. And there's like Simpsons levels, I remember. And
you could bring Barney into Doom.
Yep.
Well, I had Barney in Doom. That was an easy mod.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. You can do all sorts of stuff.
All right. Well, it's not going to change. I thought we'd talk about it.
Nah. Just keep giving us games. We'll stop moaning eventually.
All right. Let's do some couch co-optionals. Oh wait, no. Are you done with your beers, Nick Oles? Almost.
Just about.
Can you give us a verdict as you?
Yeah, I'm gonna land with Victoria on this one.
Oh, is it a richer?
Yeah, there we go.
Why?
I really liked Victoria.
Yeah, it's it's almost like what Jarrod's drinking, but just not quite at that level. But I mean, it's still just kind of like a
amberish more level,
amber sweeterish. I don't know. It like Negro Modelo is a really great beer for me, and this one is just it's almost kind of like almost in the ballpark in terms of like a lot of similarities, and so that's kind of why I like it as much as I do now. Yeah, so that was, I mean, I hadn't really had a lot of Victoria until I got that freebie case, and I'm just like, oh, I'm kind of impressed with it.
Cool. Well, there you go.
For what it is.
Victoria.
Victorious.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now we will move on to some couch.
Well, doesn't Jarrod have some trivia, or are we doing?
We're doing couch co-optionals first. Come on, Nick. Look at the rundown.
Sorry.
It's all your fault, Ian, for getting trivia like for a few weeks.
It's not your first. It's also Nick's. It's not Nick's first rodeo here. Like trivia comes at the very end.
Oh, true. Okay.
Jarrod, you got something you've experienced, enjoyed, tasted, loved?
Well, since I haven't really watched anything new that we haven't talked about, last night I went out for sushi. Oh. Go get sushi. Why not?
Why not?
Just go enjoy some sushi. If you've never tried it, don't fear. It's really, really amazing.
Oh, I love sushi.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's not all raw. They will let you know if it's raw. If that's what you're scared about.
The raw stuff's the best.
It is really good. It is. Yeah. It's so good. Yeah. There's nothing to be afraid of. Just enjoy.
Cool. There you go. Yeah. Sushi it up. Dave, how about you?
Well, I got given an old computer and a CRT monitor this weekend, and I've been playing around with the CRT monitor, and I hooked up some of my older systems to it, and I'd just forgotten like how good the picture looks on a TV, like on a CRT, compared to an LCD screen. I mean, because I connect them up to the LCD screen all the time. I've got good ways of connecting them up that give you like a really nice solid picture. But there was just something about the CRT that was like, it seemed sharper, and it seemed like it just popped more. The colors popped a lot more. And so I was quite surprised, and so I got given this one. But then a guy I know also got a monitor for one of the computers I have, and so it wasn't just one monitor that I used, and it was pretty sweet.
That's
I think
awesome.
The only drawback is the monitor I got given. It has a high pitched noise that I can't hear, but my son can, and it drives him fucking nuts.
Yeah, the high electronic sound drives me nuts.
Yeah, it also sounds like somebody's older than the other person.
Yeah. I can't hear a thing.
This person needs to go to some more rock shows and Deafen
So,
those
Ian,
ears.
do we need to push these youngins in the pool? Is that what you're saying?
Something. Cool. CG. I mean, I still have my. I mean, it's not a monitor; it's a TV. But
Yeah. You should hook something up. It's probably been a while since you've played something on it, I'm guessing.
no, I played some great quality content for
Oh, yes.
Nick,
I remember that.
Jarrod, and John a few weeks back.
Yeah.
It looked great. And I booted it up the other time because we were talking about the goddamn PlayStation menu, about the blocks, and I was like,
Oh, yes.
I didn't have
card.
I didn't have a memory card in mind. So I was like, what blocks are you fucking talking about?
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I saved the day with mine right
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I used to have a fucking 32-inch Sony Trinitron, and that was sweet for retro stuff. It looked awesome, but I just got tired of fucking carrying it around. Like, it is so fucking heavy.
Yeah,
that,
they are bloody heavy, aren't they? even the little ones are like this one. The one I've got is like 13-inch or something, 12-inch viewable screen, and it is a chunk.
Oh, actually, I have another Sony. Actually, I have an actual Sony monitor.
Ooh, a Trinitron?
A Trinitron one that's like a little 6-7-inch
that thing's
production
sweet.
monitor.
Yeah, monitor.
Which probably when it was new was probably like around $1,000 probably. But
Jeez.
yeah, I hooked that up to like a PlayStation.
Dreamcast on that, and it's really nice.
It looks fucking sick. Yeah, it's awesome. Anyway, neither here nor there. Nick DeWin, you got something cool you want to talk about?
I did, and I forgot it. We went off on this whole tangent about
CRTs.
Yeah, and it's just
Now he wants to hook up an NES and play on his
no,
I
know what it was. It was I want to kind of give a shout out to Jones Soda.
Oh.
I found out. I mean, I always knew that they always talked about their fountains. I never actually saw one. I mean, I've been reading about this for years, and I finally saw one at Sizzle Pie, and it's just nice not seeing like the big three being your only choice for beverages. So it's just nice to see like kind of an independent soda fountain thing. And it was also nice just to, I mean, I only played with the cola because they had a lot more traditional flavor. I mean, I know when you see Jones and regular soda or in the stores, you see a bunch of like little wild flavors or some kind of not so traditional flavors, but it was really nice to actually see like more traditional flavor offerings on their fountain machines. So it's like for us, probably the best place to go would be Sizzle Pie locations because I think all of their locations have them. But I mean, you could go to Jones Soda and look online and see who else has it and just kind of play around. And they also use like cane sugar versus the big three using the corn syrup. So it's I don't know,
only
just
in America.
I just thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of play around and maybe take like a lemon lime and mix it with something, or a cola and mix it with something more. They even have a Dr. Jones, which one of these days I still need to try because I'm a big Dr. Pepper fan.
Oh yeah,
so,
Dr. Pepper's my number one. So I'd love to try their Dr. Jones.
Yeah,
Dr. Jones.
I mean, I didn't even know that was available. Like I said, until
Dr.
I
Jones.
just saw the fountain machine when I was delivering Sizzle Pie, and like I'm just like, oh my god, I need to come here on my own time.
Does it have a picture of Indiana on the tap?
No, it doesn't. Sorry.
That's exclusive to
it's an
Paramount.
exclusive.
Yeah, that's
right.
exclusive to Disney.
Yeah. I mean, it would be awesome if they
Paramount.
But it would be kind of funny if they had like the little digitized version from like Fate of Atlantis or whatever from way back in the day.
Cool. Jones Soda.
Anyway, yeah. So
Fountain.
basically, Jones Soda, Fountain, whatever. Find it at Sizzle Pie. You can also go on their website and find some other place too. But
Cool.
Sizzle Pie works for me since I'm always near one, and plus pizza sounds good sometimes when I'm out and about.
It's pizza. It always sounds good.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, Dave and I were talking about this earlier during the pre-show a little bit, but and I want to preface that I don't agree with this man's views or thoughts or beliefs. He can be considered kind of a shitty person, but he is an artist, and I bought this record for $1. This is Ted Nugent, Free for All. I was like, oh, it's $1. I'll buy it. There's got to be at least one good song on here. The whole fucking album is awesome.
Okay.
It's fucking epic. This cover is ridiculous. I mean, this is the most erotically homo thing I've ever seen. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but if you know this man, he's not that. He's a very bizarre gentleman.
Yeah.
But he's a hell of a fucking good guitar player. Holy shit. And this album is actually, I thought, pretty awesome. I don't know what actual music critics thought of it. I've never heard of this particular album before, so I imagine it's not really highly praised. But, man, listen. I bought a bunch of records yesterday, but that one, when it came on, I was just like, what the fuck is this? And I just really enjoyed it. And so I'm recommending the music of Ted Nugent,
cool.
Free for All. I can't believe it was $1, man. You know how it's funny, like nowadays you buy a song for $1, but I can go in and buy a whole album and art for $1. It's ridiculous. So go to record stores and you don't have to buy new records. In fact, I recommend not buying the new records because new records are generally digitally recorded, digitally mastered, and then dumped down to analog. Whereas old records are analog recorded, analog mastered, analog pressed. So it's generally better to get old ones if you're about the analog sound. All right.
There's also a lot of stuff that's not made it across to, like, there's a lot of things that just get left by the wayside.
Oh yeah, I mean this is never going to get reprinted.
No.
Digitally, in the current, even though vinyl is like this huge thing and it outsold, CDs last year, certain records are never going to get reproduced. So
yes, yeah.
So I felt good that my $1 was not going towards Ted Nugent; it was just going to the record store.
Yeah.
All that works.
Anyway, that's my cash co-optional. Anything else you guys want to share or talk about before we get the hell out of here?
Jared's
some trivia.
Oh, that's right. Thanks, Nick, for reminding me that
good
Jarrod
job, Nick.
also had trivia.
Yeah, right here.
I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to see if you remembered.
Fuck you guys.
All right, so
we love you too.
In what game could the players call down an orbital strike from a player that may have been orbiting the planet from a different game?
Oh, from
called
a player?
EVE Online. Yeah, there was a game where you could, you'd be battling and...
Are you talking about the game we were talking about earlier?
Strike.
Yeah.
No. Well, yeah, I mean EVE Online, but
you're talking about the game
connected to it.
So the game that we were talking about earlier, it was EVE something.
Yeah, there was EVE Online.
It's an old game that came out on PS3.
Yes, but it was like numbers and then EVE because it was tied into EVE.
Yeah, oh gosh, yeah, I remember that.
It has a name you wouldn't even guess. Like I had to look it up several times this week just to try and remember it. But yeah, you could actually ask a ship that was orbiting that was hopefully close to the planet, and that player from EVE Online would actually initiate an orbital strike and help you.
That's what we were talking about.
Dust 514.
Dust 514.
But
it's still EVE. It's still EVE. It's like subtitle, isn't it?
No, it's just
sure?
Dust 514.
Really?
They had Eve Valkyrie, didn't they? That was the other one, I think.
Yeah, there was. That was the
VR
games.
one that came out on the PlayStation 4 VR or the PlayStation VR. because I had that one and they closed it down pretty quick.
We all played Dust 514 beta. Did any of us buy it?
No, it was free to play. You didn't have to.
Yeah.
Oh, it was free to play.
Yeah,
okay.
we played it a little bit.
It was, yeah.
It just was kind of janky and didn't work very well.
Yeah, it didn't. It was kind of fun to play a little bit, but
and then
it got old pretty
you could
quick.
ask for the orbital strike stuff, but if no one was paying attention, you never really you never really felt like it was really happening.
Well, I never saw what it looked like on the EVE Online side. Like, did they get like a notification like, hey, someone at this planet at this coordinate needs help? They have to fly all the way over there, or is it just a happenstance kind of a thing?
I don't think
know,
it was
but they actually would have to initiate the orbital strike. So that's an interesting concept, though.
Right, and then that's what they're trying to do.
Really cool.
That's what they're trying to do again with this new version.
Yeah, and I hope it works because that's a cool idea where multiple games are trying to do the same goal. That's awesome. All the planets that were in Dust 514 were planets that were in EVE Online, and it was all connected in that same universe. That's really cool.
I remember reading an article about that. There were like certain groups of EVE Online that like had groups of people that had groups of like had PS3s that they were trying to like kind of grind the
connecting,
trying to get it to do it outside of like just random people. But I just don't think that game ever really worked the way they thought it would.
It didn't do very well rating wise, and got a lot of complaints about graphics. Gameplay was pretty janky, and I don't think it was active for very long. It wasn't failed test.
Yeah.
Cool. So we basically found the answer. We didn't know the name of it, but we were basically talking about it before it even happened. Dave.
Well, we talked about the war, not that EVE Online. No, it's Star.
No, we were. That's what I was talking about.
When you brought up Warhawk, but Starhawk.
No. When you brought up EVE Online, that it had launched. I said, yeah. Remember when we played that other game that we were talking about it. You'll have to go back and listen. Okay. I promise you.
Yeah. Because I kind of brought up the mobile one. I remember that, and that there's a new one coming out.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, here we go. Let's get out of here. Yeah. Well, I want to thank everyone for listening and watching and checking us out. I want to thank Jarrod and Dave and Nick for joining me here on the Couch Co-op. I'm sure we'll have an exciting trying to come up with topics that we can talk about, figure out what it is for next week. What is next week? Next week is also...
It's Mother's Day, isn't it?
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that Sunday?
And my anniversary, Mother's Day.
So you guys even going to be recording next week?
That's a good question. I hadn't even thought about.
That's up for debate. We'll see.
Let's have all the mothers come on.
All the mothers, no.
I'm guessing Jarrod, no, because it's like, Mother's Day.
Busy weekend, so there's a good chance I won't, but I'll try.
Like, I can, but like if we generally just don't want to, then we don't have to.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll do like a solo thing where I don't know.
Well, should we finish the show out? And
yes, I'm sorry. For Couch Co-op, I mean, reminding you to please be excellent to each other.
Couch Co-op is full of douchebags. Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op.